Hello, everybody. I'm going to record the next chapter of Broken Sky. One thing, I don't have any art really prepared for this video. It's just this right here. So the background will be a speed paint of this, and then I'm going to switch to another random drawing that I was working on, just to have something going on in the background. So, yeah. Anyways, enjoy the chapter. Chapter 2. Luminous. Luminous flew over the desert, eyes locked on the Lightclaw Palace in the distance. Luminous was the prince of the Lightclaws, heir to the throne and future lord of the sun. Some might call him lucky. Luminous would be king one day. He lived in a palace. Servants brought him whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. Luminous knew there were dragons out here who would give up everything for a life like this. But for Luminous, it wasn't special. He didn't care much for the fancy things. Luminous wanted freedom more than anything. But he had to. The sky suddenly went dark. Luminous gasped. He stopped and hovered where he was, glancing around. What had just happened? Then it went back to normal. Luminous blinked, shaking his head. Had he imagined it? He must have. The sky didn't just randomly go dark in the middle of the day. Luminous started flying again. He must have imagined it. Luminous blinked. He hadn't gotten a great amount of sleep last night, but he didn't think he was so tired he would be seeing things. Luminous landed on one of the palace balconies. He hurried through the halls, making his way towards the throne room. He stopped in front of the pair of giant golden double doors. Luminous took a deep breath. Nodding at the guards, he opened one of them and slipped in. The throne room was large and elegant, with a domed glass roof, large tinted glass windows. Gems were set in the walls in swirling patterns. A long red carpet led to 3 golden thrones, which were set in a dais. The largest was the highest, with a very tall back. The one on the left side, Luminous avoided looking at that one. He didn't like being reminded of his mother's death. The one on the right side was his, the throne for the crown prince. King Beam was sitting on the largest throne, staring at a scroll. Luminous slowly made his way over and climbed onto his throne. Beam looked up. "Where's your gold?" he sniffed. Luminous sighed. He didn't care for the strings of gold, the necklaces, and the rings. The only jewelry he liked was the gold and silver rings that slipped onto his horns. But he had forgotten even those today. "I was out flying before this and came straight here. I didn't have time to put on my gold." "The next time you don't go flying," Beam hissed. "Put on your crown before the council gets here." He flicked his tail and looked back at his scroll. Luminous reached behind his throne, where he had an extra crown stored behind it for days like today. He snatched it up and set it on his head, then looked at his father. "What are you reading?" he asked. "Nothing." Beam shifted so Luminous could see the scroll. It was blank. "You saw the sky go black earlier?" Yes, Luminous blinked, so it hadn't been a dream. "Shadowclaw doing," Beam growled, curling his claws. "How dare they? Bring the night into my perfect day," he hissed. "We don't know it was them," Luminous said. "Don't we? The Moonclaws wouldn't do it because it would disrupt their precious moon cycle, and nobody else could do it. So it was clearly the Shadowclaws." "What if it was a rogue?" Luminous argued. "Rogues can't wield that kind of power," Beam hissed. "We must decide what to do about the Shadowclaws. They dare to bring their filthy shadows into my perfect day." He stabbed at his scroll, ripping it slightly. "Father," the doors opened and council members started pouring in, taking their seats around the room. Servants hurried after them, offering drinks and delicate foods on platters. Once everyone was settled, Beam stood up. "The Shadowclaws had committed an act we cannot just look over," he said. "We must do something. Commander Brightsun, suggestions?" Brightsun lifted his head. He was Father's favorite council member and always got to go first. "We could threaten them with our army," he suggested. Luminous growled. Why was this escalating so quickly? It wasn't a huge deal, so why was Beam making it such a big deal? "Wait," Luminous sat taller on his throne. "What if it was an accident? Maybe—" "Stop jabbering," Beam hissed. "Brightsun, what are you suggesting?" "Father! We could not just attack the Shadowclaws without knowing what happened," Luminous insisted. "Luminous?" Beam whipped his head around and looked at Luminous. "We don't even know it was the Shadowclaws. It could have been a rogue or anything," Luminous growled. "Luminous! You are dismissed from this council!" Beam slammed his talon down on his throne. Luminous stepped backwards, staring at his father for a long moment. Then he shot upwards, flying out of the throne room through one of the open panes in the glass roof. Luminous swished around, his wings powering him towards the desert. Why did his father insist on this? What did he have to gain by accusing the Shadow Claws? Luminous ascended, landing on the sandy ground. If Beam was so determined to accuse the Shadow Claws, and Bright Sun wanted to bring the army into this, would that mean war? Alright, that is the end of Chapter 2. I guess I didn't end up needing any other arcs. I just put the speed play on the slowest setting. So, let me know what you guys thought. I really enjoy this chapter because I really like Luminous and Beam and their dynamic, even though it's obviously horrible and they don't really get along. But I had fun making it, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to end videos. I'm probably going to say this every time, so